9 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. Come be live every weeknight at midnight Eastern, and we talk about guns for an hour. So this is the advanced course in Second Amendment-ness, episode 1246 or something. That's a lot. That's not a typo. We've been doing this show since 2016, every single weeknight. Unlike a lot of shows that only can handle it once a week, some channels can handle 2 shows a week if they're lucky. If they're really putting out, we're out there on the streets every single weeknight. Sometimes when we're sick, sometimes we're sick and tired, and sometimes when we're just tired. But we're out here for the people that are the real shooters, the calibers that matter. 45 ACP, for example. 380 ACP, another good caliber. 25 ACP, another caliber. All good calibers. And an ACP, no, because there's also 10 millimeter. And 357 is a really good one. All the calibers that matter. The people that shoot those calibers, that's what this show's all about. The honest, hardworking, decent caliber shooters. And people that care about 2A. People that are trying, barbecues out there, put it 2 and 1 and 1 together for 2A. He's trying. He's always trying to be 2A. DJ's out there also trying to be 2A. Woods, yesterday's. So we'll put out a link here in a minute. But one of the things we've been doing lately to start the show off is go over to the YouTube channel, go down to the description, which is a portion of the YouTube video that is underneath of the video. And there's words down there. So it'll say stuff like episode 25 of, the Locked and Loaded Latinos. So that is a show that happens on Sunday, and it's the best show that happens for 2A all week. So if you don't listen to that show, you don't know what you're doing. So that was episode 25. That was yesterday. They were talking about Die Hard being a Christmas movie and some other stuff. Didn't have a guest on. And a pretty good show. Then you got High Caliber Histories podcast, talking to the dude from Rock Island Auctions. Pretty interesting. They were talking about some guns and stuff and that, but the part I found interesting was a little bit about the auction and stuff. Sorry, I got to take off. I'm eating some fancy store-bought soup I started up before the chat stuff, and then we're gonna put the link out there because unlike a lot of the other chats that you hear about or watch, we're not cowards. So we're gonna have a link out there so you can be part of this conversation. But in order to prime the pump, let's say, get things started in a real professional way, I read all the stuff that's on the screen right here in front of me. So this is the stuff that I've been watching over the weekend and was basically homework for anybody who's going to Minuteman University to be 2A for real, like legit 2A. Let's see. So then we had the Daily Bullet, right? Second Amendment Foundation said, you know what we should do? Something daily. Instead of sitting around and doing shit once a month or whenever, like once a year, let's do something daily. So what they do is they interview different 2A people. So if you don't know who's 2A, go watch Second Amendment Foundation, and they have Paul out there daily. He records them, but whatever. All right, they're getting better. Today was Lara Smith, Liberal Gun Club. Always interesting to hear about that thing. Not because every time I hear about it, it's a little bit different, but mainly because every time I hear about it, I learn more about the thing. And, it'd be like every time you heard about Every Second Matters from a different person. Nobody's right or wrong. It's just that everybody who talks about it is have a different experience with it. So it's one of those kind of phenomenons. So it's interesting to keep hearing about the situation, the existence, and what they do. I'm about ready, though, after 10 years plus, something like that, to start hearing about the next level, right? We're here in the advanced class. So, you know what I'm saying? Like at some point you graduate out of kindergarten, right? You leave kindergarten behind and you go to first grade and you quit taking naps in the middle of school and you start doing whatever you do in first grade. It's been a while, so I don't remember what you do. Probably numbers or something. And then eventually you get to where you have to start going to high school, where you have to walk around during the day, right? You have to go to a different class once in a while. And guess what? You get to pick some stuff. So let's see these conversations evolve. Not necessarily the Daily Bullet, but the organizations that started 5-10 years ago. How long do they need training wheels on? Let's see them start taking over and getting rid of the NFA. We can talk about stuff like that because we're in the advanced level here. Play Society podcast. They do a live conversation on Mondays, and it's their podcast. It's their radio show. Today there was 6 of them in there, and they were interviewing this guy from. I got the sniffles. What the hell's going on? I haven't been talking all day, but now I'm noticing that I got a runny nose. So, Play Society podcast was interviewing. What the hell was that guy's name? I've heard him before, but I don't know his name is. Some dude from Florida, and they're talking about how they're going to have their camping trip that they have to do to comply, and then their place got torqued so that they normally would have it. So they got some capitalists to offer some private land. It's owned privately, and they're talking about having their, what they're going to be doing. Then they do the rest of their podcast. We could talk about it. I'm not a big fan of the rest of it. I like that they do it. I just don't. My focus isn't self-defense, and their focus is self-defense. Then we get The Art of War. If you haven't listened to that book or read that book, then I don't know what to tell you. You're in the advanced class. So that's something you should probably be listening to The Art of War, I don't know, once a month, perhaps. I'm curious how often you listen or read The Art of War, the book. I listen to it on audio. I have a link here. I don't listen to the same one all the time because it's half of the interesting part of it is when a different person, a different voice reads it. Different parts are emphasized or different parts, hit your ear differently. So I appreciate the different people that are out there reading it. So this particular one that I linked on, I don't think I've heard it before. It's not the worst one I've heard, for darn sure. A lot of the weird ones have special effects and stuff in it. I get carried away. But this one was decent, and it wasn't boring, but it wasn't distracting or nothing. But it was more than, it wasn't boring and it wasn't distracting, right in the middle. I think that's where you'd want it. So anyway, curious if anybody is wanting to be part of the text conversation out there. How often do you read/listen to Art of War? And if you've only listened to it once, you need to, there's a difference between a book like that, which takes maybe 2 hours if somebody reads it slowly, maybe an hour, something less, or a little bit over an hour, maybe less than 2 hours. So if somebody's reading it fairly quickly, as you get older, you're going to get different stuff out of that book. As you're going through different things in your life, you're going to get different stuff out of that book. I definitely find that, what do you want to call it? Experiencing that book, hearing it over and over. It's more than a song. Like, sometimes you can get that same thing out of a song. You get flashbacks or something. The song brings something back to you. That's a book for me, at least, that the facets of it are useful. I mean, I think there's a reason it's been around for like 200 freaking years. And so many people sing its praises after that long. But maybe I'm wrong. So if you think Art of War is shitty, then I guess we can talk about that. We can fight about that. Then we got Canadian gun confiscation effort. So dude over on Patreon, which is a platform, sent me a thing about Canada's gun confiscation running into some resistance, which sounds good. We have plenty of allies in Canada. Let's see, so we can talk about that one here in a minute. But there's a link in the description down there. I'm reading the description of the video right now. Then we got Walt did a couple of videos. One where he's saying about gun tubers, a bunch of jerks. He's trying to fight with YouTubers. Punch up, I believe they call it these days. The kids call it punching up. And then should we break the law? So he's out there being crazy. He's talking, making videos about breaking the law. So yeah, that was Kevin Sonia, the guy in the Light Society. Well, I guess you know what? I pay for the duck. Actually, my Patreon's paid for the duck. So guess what? You can do this now. Boom. See how subtle it is? Before it was all goofy. Now it's all nice looking. I think it was McKay Joe that posted this thing about Canada too. So we'll dig into that. We'll dig into this next. I guess I'll screen share. Getting the hiccups down. I'll fall apart here. All right, we got 11 people out there. Again, you watch a normal show, you know, the regular show, that copy off of each other during the regular hours where it's easy to get viewers and they're willing to take just any viewer that comes walking along. What are they going to do? They're going to they're going to hide behind scripting and this whole barrier of the internet. Here's what we do. Bam, we break that barrier of the internet. Now you can join this conversation because you're part of it. You're not sitting on some kind of bleacher seats. You're not watching this from afar in a movie theater. Instead, you're on the internet, so you can be part of this conversation. All right, so Makojo said about this on Patreon. Canada's gun confiscation effort runs into resistance. This is from day before Christmas. I don't know what this is. Bearing Arms. Oh, this is Cam Edwards. So I guess he's a blog and radio show. It says it's been nearly 7 months since Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced the sweeping ban on semi-automatic firearms in Canada, including the mandate that existing gun owners hand them over to the government in a buyback. But Trudeau's Liberal Party has yet to find a private company willing to oversee the compensated confiscation efforts. When Trudeau's public safety minister, Bill Blair, originally set out a request for a proposal, he received virtually no bids from any company. Undeterred, Blair ended up reaching out to human resource company Altus, which signed a $60,000 contract with the Canadian government in October to draft a plan on how the confiscation efforts would be managed. The public didn't become aware of the contract till after December 7th, when the government responded to a question from a Conservative member of Parliament. Once the contract became public knowledge, the firm, inundated with messages from polite missives to outright threats, and just a few days later announced it was pulling out of the agreement. That leaves Trudeau's government in the same place it was back in May, when it announced that the gun ban and compensated confiscation efforts are set to begin in mid-2022. The mandate has been issued, but the anti-gun administration hasn't figured out a way to handle the confiscation efforts. Interesting. There's a quote here: the astonishing series of events churned up Blair's office, which confirmed to iPolitics it was preparing the third procurement offer to reignite and to the attempts to get the buyback off the ground. In an email response to questions, a spokesperson for Blair seemed to suggest that the department itself might take charge of the buyback plan. For the first time, the leaders of the two most prominent gun control lobbies in Canada, these two people, and the Coalition for blah, blah, blah in Toronto, and Heidi something for Montreal, did not respond to questions about the next possible steps by Blair's office and whether Public Safety Department might establish the buyback program. So let's see, it keeps going on and on. It's almost at the end. It's pretty interesting that Canada's gun control groups don't want to comment, at least publicly, on the mess that Bill Blair has made of Trudeau's gun ban and confiscation efforts, or the resistance shown by both individual gun owners and provincial governments. While they're not issuing any press statements, the anti-gun activists at the Coalition for Gun Control are still hoping to help defund the ban in court. Anti-gun activists at the Coalition for Gun Control are still hoping to help defund the gun ban in court. I don't get that. There are multiple legal challenges to Trudeau's actions, and the first federal court hearing is scheduled to take place next month. Canadian gun owners can't claim protection under the Second Amendment, but they're still putting up one heck of a fight against Trudeau's gun grab. I wish them well in the legal battles ahead, and I'm grateful they're not willing to roll over and accept the compensated confiscation of their legally owned firearms. That's that guy Cam Edwards. So yeah, I guess whether or not, I don't know what your point was sending it over, but makes me think, I don't think we would contract that out, but I guess it's possible we would contract it to some sort of cool operators or something. So yeah, we got the link out there if anybody wants to be part of it. In this part of the chat, you click on this. And then when you click on that, you join in here. You're part of the conversation. Or you click on the other side, and then we can do stuff like this. Click and click and click And click. All right, every Second Matters patch I wear my hat 9 out of 10 times, almost always get a good comment and conversation. Interesting. So that was one of the goals when we first created the thing. Was the Every Second Matters project was to create a logo that wouldn't scream out gun stuff necessarily. So if you were in an anti or hostile situation or environment, you could still do something to kind of say, subtle nod to second, but then create something that might have some questioning or, might cause a question or whatever. So let's see, let's just start up at the top here. So nobody's jumping in today. Nobody's 2A. So like I say, this is the advanced class. A lot of people are just going to show up, I guess, hang out in the hallway out front and listen. I guess I remember doing that. I was too scared to go into a class. Let's see. Now I got my fancy soup over here getting cold. I forgot about that. So you're all wasting my soup. Somebody, probably Garrett, paid $5 for that soup. I paid like 3 something for that damn soup, and it's getting cold. So basically, I ain't gonna waste $3. I'm gonna end up pausing this here in a second. You're just gonna listen to nothing while you watch the chat go by. Ghost is out there blabbing about 9mm. Can't believe you're justifying 9mm. Let's see. Then we got not being able to be 2A. You're youngin'. You guys still gotta work your way up. Let's see. Is there a membership that it can join to join 2A? There's going to be a lot of those next year. That's for sure. So then Kevin Sona is the Plate Society. Oh, that was the guy from Florida. Ghost saying about that. And let's see. Then we got John Brown. Biker Bob's a Canadian. He's not jumping in here though. There's him. Just do. Oh yeah, like I said, that's interesting. So, yeah, really. So, but the thing I never even would have considered that they had a what do you call them? Like contractors, basically, like they were just going to hire somebody. Like, oh, you know what? We just need to have this collected. Can you mix up some vans or something? Well, they wouldn't want to use vans. Some sort of like a garbage truck where they just throw their guns in the back and we'll give you enough money to drive them around. So, like I say, I'm gonna eat this soup here that I paid $3 for, and then waste a bunch, like 20 minutes heating up water. Figured a bunch of people would jump in. So I'll throw this link out there one more time, and then we'll just, oops, how am I doing this? I have to refresh, damn it. Here's the link right here. Just click on that link and jump in here. Otherwise, I'm not gonna do that weird thing where you eat soup in a microphone. Oh crap, it's not even hot anymore like that because that's weird. So I'll just sit here in silence. Other chats don't care about $3. I care way more about that $3 and eating that soup while it's hot than being desperate for fame and fortune on here. All right, well, so I got part of it in me, but I still got some of it left here. No way to heat it up because I don't like microwaves. So I guess we'll end it. Nobody's jumping in today. Nobody's even saying anything. Maybe this mic's not working. Nothing. I don't know. That's what happens when you're live and you're not fake. It's not always going to be whatever. We don't pay people to read a bunch of scripts that we have a bunch of other people paid to write to make it seem all improvised. You know how many rehearsals we had for match chat today? Holy crap. I got so sick of it. Luckily, the food's good in the back room over there. So it's worth hanging out at his chat. But holy moly, the directors, I'm so sick of his directors, Uh, Soaking in. Oh, there's DJ. Soaking in all the gun noob. Wait, gun noob soaking in all 2A. That's all good. I am eating a $3 thing of this like pho PHO crap. That's fake noodles. It's called pho because it's fake, and then just a bunch of powdered salt, I guess. And they put that in hot water. Makes soup. You have to let it sit for like half an hour.
So your pho is pretending to be glorified ramen or something?
Yeah, you know what pho is? Pho is probably something that I don't know. I mean, I know it exists. I just don't pay attention to that stuff. So I know it's something. And I've
Yeah.
seen, you ever seen a faux bar, like a buffet or something. Like they have them, but they almost always make that with like a chunk of neck or like some kind of foot. So I don't eat that kind of stuff usually. But this is just some fake version that's vegan. That just salt water basically with noodles. But so anyway, I don't know what real pho is. Probably the noodles, right? Or is it the
Yeah. Well, it is the soup preparation with the noodles, but yeah, my favorite pho is crispy pork skin. Um, Man, that's some good stuff. It's so succulent, and you get that. I mean, this is probably grossing you out as a vegan, but you get that mild, like greasy on your lips. It's just so unctuous, and then you get heavy contrast from like bruised lemongrass and kaffir lime leaves, and yeah, really good stuff. And actually, the best. There were a couple of places that turned up, pho restaurants, but the best place to get them in town now is actually not in town. It's across the river at one of the Council Bluffs, Iowa casinos. They have so many um, Asians that come in to gamble, and they don't want to necessarily order off an American style menu. And once the buffets close down, there are two little cafes. One of them is like Ace's Diner, checkerboard floors and Elvis on the jukebox kind of thing. And they're not bad because lost leaders at casinos help to keep you there, and you can get like the equivalent of a Denny's Grand Slam for $2.22. It's ridiculous. Like order up two of those with alternate meat or egg preparations. Double down on the hash browns for me. I don't deal with the pancakes or anything like that. Waffles, forget about it. But yeah, and then you get like two to take with you for the next morning. Well, you're leaving in the morning usually, but yeah, it's good to hit them up. But so, are there pho restaurants in Arizona?
like I say, I don't know. Probably. I know it was a thing for a minute. Right? It was like a thing
Right.
there for a minute. I know there was like a Chinese buffet that we would hang out at because it was pretty awesome. They didn't care. You could hang out there. So we would have business meetings there, like when we were all like a team and had people doing all kinds of stuff, and it was full tilt. We didn't have offices, so we would just meet up at a place like that, hang out. A couple of us would hang out all day, and everybody else could meet up, and then everybody could just eat. And at one of them, there was a faux bar or whatever, like whatever that's called, like where
Yeah.
you'd go there and tell her whatever you wanted in there, and then she would whip it up, and then they'd bring that over. You could do that as many times as you wanted, right? But
Right.
besides that, I don't know if there's actually restaurants for it. There might be, but um, I just think it's kind of like a taco or something where if you're, especially where it's cold or rainy, I would assume, or by the ocean, right, where you got cold or whatever. It's like something you can. It's like drinking. It's like a more substantial coffee. It's like something you can eat without having to sit down and eat. Right, you're not going to get all full and never not eat dinner because of it. But if you just needed to get sustenance and energy, that's where I could see pho being like better than a sandwich, better than a hamburger.
Oh,
Like if you don't
definitely.
want to eat a meal, you just want something. Although you'd have to put in some kind of cup. I don't think I'd want to sit around with a chopsticks and a spoon and all that business. I basically chop the shit out of these noodles, so they're not rice anymore. That small, but I chop the shit out of them before I put them with hot water in there, so I'm not wasting my time trying to play with some kind of noodle puzzle as I'm eating it.
Yeah.
Angelina jumped in. Probably eats soup, or she might have jumped in for the 2A topics.
No, I came for soup and nail polish.
I do appreciate it because that gave me a chance to ink the rest of it there. Yeah, I'm not sure. I might be sick. I don't know. If I got something, it's just mild, if it's anything, or I just have like I don't know. I just had a bit of a sore throat, so that soup hit the spot. Um,
What was the weather like when you were trampoline elf assembler?
you don't want to know what the weather's like here. This is the time of year that people don't like to hear about our weather. Like we're doing
Oh,
fine.
snowbird migration in full effect.
Hey,
Nobody's complaining about our weather.
is it hot there? Because it's raining here. Like it was 45 today, like when the sun was still out, and that's so rare.
Yeah, that's what I heard on the radio this morning. It's like we're pretty much like the eye of like everybody else is getting beat on, and we're just sitting here being fine. No, it's nice here. It's I don't know what it is. It's like 73 or something. It's just nice. At night it gets a little bit chilly. Like I just let her out. I usually have to put on like 3 coats. I have like 1 coat on, so I'm not complaining. I don't know why I'm even sicker if I am sick.
That's how it's been here, but yesterday and today, it's raining.
Yeah, I miss that. We only had a little bit. It's threatening to rain, but I don't know if we're gonna get like edges of what you got, or I doubt it's anything that's going towards us because I don't think we get weather like that. But unless something big happened in the ocean and you're getting the brunt of it, and we'll get the tail of it or something like that.
I don't know if
Think
there was
yeah,
hail, like real hail. It was weird.
Wow, that's not something we even experience in the Midwest all that often. I mean, when we do, it is some brutal stuff. I mean, that hail just kind of comes out of nowhere here.
Oh, well, here it's like sonic ice pellets, I guess is the best way to describe it, or smaller.
So I was going to ask if it was hail or freezing rain.
I mean, okay, I want to preface what I'm going to say with like, whenever it rains here, the news calls it storm watch. So, like, no matter how much it rains, like a little bit of rain, a lot of bit of rain, any rain in Southern California is storm watch. So, that being said, we get like 5 to 10 days of rain a year because, it never rains in Southern California. And yeah, it hailed, which is fucking crazy, dude, because that probably happens like once every 5 years.
Mm.
I was going to say, when I grew up, I'd heard of hail, and I'd seen like freezing rain or whatever, where it was like, oh, the rain is not snow, but it's not rain either. It's cold, right? But then out here, I've seen, not here necessarily, but out in the Southwest in places, I've seen places where like giant snowballs of ice come down, like big ass giant projectiles come down, and they break roofs and cars and that kind of thing. So I don't know if that's just how I happen to see it, or if that's a regional thing, but I don't know, maybe the water is higher here or something, so it freezes bigger. I don't know. But I haven't seen it myself. I mean, I've never lost a deer. I want to say that, knock on wood. I've never lost a vehicle to it yet.
Yeah, you cannot be outside, with your head uncovered if it's hailing here, because pretty soon it'll turn from, sonic ice pellets into golf balls and sometimes up to baseball. And I've been in some that were softball. It's just it is a freak of it's a freak of nature kind of thing, and it's so destructive. And even on those mild ones, a lot of people are just laying in wait. Some of them, because all the new car dealerships, it's all open lots. None of them are covered, and none of them are indoor. Only the showroom is. And so, a couple days after a storm, they call them dimpled beauties, and you can get them at like manufacturer's cost. My dad bought a '79 Ford Granada for next to nothing because it was a dimpled beauty.
Well, that's what they got for not putting solar panels over every parking space in every parking
lot. Oh,
lot.
yeah. I wouldn't think about that.
Well, that's pretty much like what it's like in Arizona already. Every time I drive around to a part of town I haven't driven in a while, every square inch of parking lot anywhere, it pretty much is covered with solar panels now. It must be interesting for an airplane. Look at a big giant mirror. Wonder if it's going to start to affect weather. Anyway, Walt needs some mansplaining. So we got a girl and a monkey and a revolver. Brainstorming big changes to my channel. I'm thinking about what's needed. What does that mean? What's needed? Nurse for 2A needed?
Right now, it's right now. That's what
that's
all
a
kids
fancy
do that.
kid speak.
Yeah, is Walt a kid?
Yeah, well, he's like 13. A lot of thinking about what's needed right now for 2A and to explore guns and life more, but we'll see where I land.
Walt is 2A Doogie Howser.
Yeah, there you go. What's needed for 2A? So that's a good question. Y'all have coming from different angles. What do you think we need going into 2021? 2A-ish, 2A wise.
Patches.
I like her idea, but that's just because I have an addiction. So I'm going to steer away from that one and fight the addiction and say awareness.
So I don't know. What's needed right now for 2A and to explore guns and life more? I don't know about guns part. I have different. I guess I don't. I have different opinions on the doing stuff for new gun owners, but I guess that's a thing. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of people doing that. But as far as for 2A, I don't know. There's probably a lot of angles to take that one. Jared threw $4 at me. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. I don't know if you heard me before, but you basically paid for the dinner I ate earlier. Flu's going around? I don't know. I don't know anybody that's got it, so I don't know how I got it. Maybe from a store. I lick things when I go to stores often. Bob says his water pipes broke or froze. I don't know if that means they broke.
I feel you, Bob. Mine are frozen right now, too.
No bueno.
Wait, does that mean your water doesn't work? It like exploded? What do you mean by this? What is
The water is literally frozen inside the pipes.
Yeah, that'll
So-
always break the pipes. It depends, but it will definitely stop you from getting water. A lot of times you can leave it dripping or something and it won't freeze up, but you can get it to where it's slow, basically.
Yeah,
Yep.
but Angelina, for example, in our climates here, if you do not do a disconnect of your outside water line, like to the spigot for your hose and stuff, it'll creep right through that and down to your supply line. And most of the time, because you don't want that water to go, it's not being flowed out. It's being flowed before it hits other places in the house. So it will creep down and get your access from the supply line from the street, and then it just creeps forward. And the house I'm living in right now, the basement had 18 inches of standing water when that happened about 5 years ago. So yeah, everything was just destroyed. Water damage is just so repulsive. And the biggest loss that I mourned was about 800 LPs that I was set to inherit. So yeah,
what the
it'll
hell do
be.
you guys do for water when this happens? Like you just don't have water anymore?
Well, typically you'll have snow outside, so if you want water, you just go out and toss some back or bring it inside, and let the heat in on the inside melt it down. Another thing that you don't do, and people don't think about this a lot, but we need to consider it when it comes to the finite resource within our homes. Water from the toilet tank, you can drink that. A lot of people fill up their tubs in anticipation of that sort of thing, so that you can bail a half gallon of water out, make some Kool-Aid or something. But yeah, as long as
Nobody that I don't know anybody that did anything. Like you might have to do that in emergency, but anybody that ever had a water pipe freeze, they would take basically this like really stiff electric cord type of thing, and it would just kind of snake around and wrap on it, and you plug that in. And somewhere around November, you plug that thing in, and then somewhere around March, you unplug it, and then that's. But it usually only happens to you the one time, or you insulate them. You have somebody come in and wrap stuff, so it doesn't happen except I don't know, in a extreme, because most of the time the house, if it was something that was going to happen every year, they'd fix it.
Yeah, one of the bigger drags is everybody having PVC plumbing now, because of course the strength of pipes, be they copper or cast, are resistant to that kind of thing. But even cast, that's some pretty brittle stuff. So copper, and again, everything will go to the path of least resistance. Everything comes to it, tries to normalize its pressure. So it'll just find the weak point and exploit it. So if you have an incomplete solder joint or something like that in your copper, it'll happen there. But no, I don't mean to suggest that it runs rampant up and down my street every time it freezes. But yeah, some people are caught unaware. And those that don't have those thermostatically controlled electric tapes, they'll do stuff like, bundle their pipes and quilts and old towels and stuff like that.
Or you just leave it running, and then
that too. Yeah, opening up the
and as long as your drain works, then it costs money. But you can't create ice. Basically, it's just always
right. Something a little stronger than just a drip, and then opening up like in your kitchen, opening up the cupboard underneath the sink so that it's getting air and it's circulating. And some people even put fans to circulate the house air over to them. Yeah.
So then, but that's because he's in Canada and they probably don't have any of those kind of technologies. So then, this is probably talking about Walt's. He's trying to help mansplain Walt over there. So first, a game plan and objective. I don't know. So that's something that we could talk about perhaps. And then suppressors, Heritage Protection Act. A game plan or objective would seem to indicate there's some sort of shared rules or shared teams or shared captains, or what I mean, like it's even everybody playing the same game. So game plan and objective within groups or something maybe, but maybe he means for Walt's channel. Well, that's one way to find out is how Bob's going to undo him.
Oh yeah, I'm like obsessed with the pipe thing now, so I had to ask Bob.
He's probably renting, so I wonder if that's like a phone call or if he's just going to do it.
I thought Bob lived in a yurt.
For me, it's just normally I would put a torpedo heater right at the side of my trailer where my main pipe is, and an hour or two of the torpedo heater blowing under the trailer would thaw out the pipe and I'd have water again, and that solves my issue normally, except when my ex had left me that year that she was staying here, the pipes froze on her the one time, and she decided to leave the torpedo heater out in the weather for a year. So when I moved back in here after she had left, I was cleaning up all the messes that she had left around here, and I found my torpedo heater out in the weather, and I was like, oh, that's wonderful. And I had enough to worry about at that time, so I didn't think about it. So when my pipes froze 2 nights ago, I was like, oh, we'll go plug in the torpedo heater, and it wouldn't fire. I was like, son of a gun.
Well, that has
What's it, Angelina?
It sounds like you need a blow dryer then.
Yeah, the problem is with where the pipe's located, it's harder for me to get to. I've actually got a heat gun, which pumps out a ton more heat than even a blow dryer. But with where the pipe is located to get to it, it's a son of a gun.
I was gonna say something about the pipes, but then I thought about Walt's thing, and I think never mind, I lost my train of thought.
As far as like the idea of going in a direction or whatever, or for his channel.
It was like an idea for a segment that he should do, but now I can't remember what I was gonna say. It'll come back to me randomly though.
So we're seeing with squads. So yeah, I mean, like I say, it's definitely going to be interesting. I think going forward, we're obviously I don't know if everybody's been paying attention now with Christmas and stuff. There's fewer and fewer. Well, at least for me, there's fewer and fewer videos from people I follow. I guess so. I'm just uh, hitting the random search more than just click my subscriber feed. I guess when I go to YouTube. So the videos and stuff that I'm seeing are, um, I guess, following up now, like speculating, I guess would be the word. Like, since no one knows, they're just saying stuff about the phenomenon of the whole brace stuff and how that happened. But I don't see anybody, offering anything like a suggestion of a way to go, or anybody's pointing a finger in which direction to go, or anything. So I think that's probably a factor at Christmas more than anything. But I suspect after everybody's done with New Year's and that, we're going to see a whole bunch of people rolling up their sleeves and trying to get people to follow some path or direction or what. So anyway, I guess that's what I'm saying. I think we're going to see so many different people saying this is what we should do, this is what we can do, this is what we should do, or whatever. That I don't know if it's going to need a map or what do you call, like a guide, or what to, huh?
Like a game plan.
Well, that too, yeah. I mean, just because, since you don't, I guess if you don't know, you know something complex is going to happen, but you don't know to what extent or how many variables. Like, how do you kind of game that? Like, you can game to be ready for anything. I guess you can game what's happened in the past, but I suspect it's not going to be like anything that's in the past. It's going to be, I think we're going to see a rush of interest in the gun stuff for sure. Unless, does anybody think that, like, it's all just going to be too much for them and they're going to drop the gun thing? With all the stuff they're going to be juggling, whoever the next administration is, it seems like for whatever reason they got their teeth in it.
I feel like you wait for an atrocity to happen.
Well, that's for sure. I mean, that's definitely always, but they're not just, what's the word? They're not just opportunistic at this point. It's almost like they need it, right? Like that's definitely going to be the trigger. I hate to say pun intended, but it's going to be the thing that releases the mechanism that they're setting up.
Yeah, I just checked Woods's comment, suppressors and Hearing Protection Act, because I've been starting to indicate that I'm going to be shifting away from the immediate need of the response to the pistol brace and going after, because I'm affected by it and could benefit from the Hearing Protection Act going through. And I don't think that that's chiseling necessarily. It's not going to create a chasm they can't overcome. But yeah, I think remaining diverse is going to be really important in our 2021 approach. And to kind of paraphrase um, Walt, I think it was same day or the next morning. It was a gentle admonition that people stop taking a victory lap and get back in the trenches. And that's an apt characterization for what we need to do. So yeah, we should continue to explore some of these ideas. And I think that when people have a particular affinity or background in something, we can let them, begin to take point. And we have a great community going here online. And one of the things I'm going to try to work on is an effective way to communicate with just, the general public. And we're not really considering it, because it's not an election year now, and we're almost out of this mess. I think that's going to be super, super important. Come off the victory lap.
Well, this is something I just thought of. Yeah, because I was talking to Hatfield on his show about it, about how, geez, I've heard him on several different things saying, hey, why aren't we going after the NFA? This seems like a perfect time to do it. And instead of just saying, oh, let's focus our time on the Hearing Protection Act and suppressors and whatnot, why not say, hey, let's go after the NFA? Obviously, that's a giant can of worms that we're getting into, but one that throws them back on their toes, where instead of being on the offensive, they're now on the defensive, and we're on the offensive for once. And then, they're always preaching compromise. Well, we've compromised time and time again. Let's make them compromise. So fine, we don't get all of the NFA this time, but since we were going after the NFA, maybe we can get them to compromise and say, well, how about this little nibble? And we get suppressors or we get SBRs. And then we say, well, that's not enough after that. And we go after the NFA again. And we just chisel away at it.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a thing either. It can be they go after suppressors this way, and somebody goes after cans this way, and somebody goes after ADA in a different way, and different people have different things and different files waiting for different triggers on our side. All it would take is what's the same, like whatever, however you want to describe, like the same amount of interest and effort on our side. We don't have to be successful, but if we're constantly efforting and whatever that resolve is to constantly effort, that would take all the people, all the resources that they have that are just offensive to us, like that are just on the offense to us, right? It would make them have to play defense. They would have to stop some of the stuff that we would be pushing. And we never play that game. We only ever catch. Is that the right way to say it? Like we only ever play defense. They wait for an atrocity. We stand here and then they go, all you people are bad. And then we have to go, oh no, wait, we're not them. And then, you know what I mean? Then we stop. We just sit here. So that means they only ever have to have attackers. They never have to have blockers or defenders or whatever the words are. So I don't think we even have to win as long as we start making them, or at least we don't have to win with every blow. Like we just have to start making them defend once in a while, and we split their resources. We split their resolve. It's easy to be on their side. All they got to do is like effort, and they either win or they get to be discouraged because the NRA is so big and mean to them. But like, you know what I mean? Like they never have to do the horrible crap that we got to do, which is just constantly work. And instead of like doing the fun stuff, talk about shit like this every night so that the couple of people who are interested have a place to be interested, because it's so rare to find people that are willing to put in this kind of effort, So since they never have to look for this, they don't have to depend on it, you know what I mean? It's not something they ever have to worry about. So why not bring a little bit of that to them with something as simple as just a whole bunch of, how come we don't do this? How come we don't do this? How come there's not this? How come there's not this? How come you're willing to say this? How come there's not a justification for that? How are you going to pay for this?
I like what Wood said about go local state stuff, especially because, California. But I think like getting stuff done in your state's a good way to get involved and, like do stuff.
I don't know. I think that when we go, we've said that, I mean, I don't disagree, but I think what we're going to potentially see going forward is, since I've been paying a little bit more attention, I think I brought this up before, some of you people in California who are advocates and have put in an effort and use these crazy little phrases like, what did he say over here? RN, right? So when those people are over there, the kids are growing up in an environment. It's like they're growing up in lava and treading water in lava and then swimming with sharks in lava and then fighting sharks inside of lava. And then they jump out to this kiddie pool, and we're all over here at the kiddie pool being like, whatever. So they're like, and we're like, oh, we don't want to go in the pool because it's a little bit warmer than we like it to be. They're like, I don't care about your warm pool, right? They're sitting there being forged in flame. So when those people, the Second Amendment advocates in California, I don't even know if they need to win. I just think once they hit the main stage, they might be some sort of superstars, like what are them two dudes that used to teach lions to do shit in Las Vegas and like jump tigers and shit, all that kind of stuff. They're gonna be like that, like the lion tamers at 2A. Pelosi and them are gonna be jumping to these kids because they like listen to Walt. He knows how to tell these antis like what for in their own language, in their own like vernacular, or whatever, their own way of speaking it. They're not going to be able to handle that. They're used to beating on people from the Midwest who don't know how to deal with all the angles that they're getting wailed on. Anyway, so I think we got some potential, and that's just, there's the New Jerseys, right? There's the other states that are getting wailed on, the Illinois. Come on, Illinois. We got chicks in Illinois that have taken stuff to the Supreme Court and won. So,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, we got advocates that are going to be coming out of states that doom on Pelosi and all these others for creating some of these people, potentially. Like, they're going to be like, what, the Bruce Lees jumping out of these states and just karate chopping the shit out of freedom. All right, I'll shut up and let you guys ponder on. What do you think? California going to save the day?
Yeah, California always saves the day. I mean, you know what, though? It really depends on where in California you're from, because California is two separate states. Like, that's just a fact. So, Northern California, I mean, it's still California, but like not as good. And then Southern California is better. So I think that, like, I would say, and then this is biased, of course, but I'm gonna say 2A advocates from Southern California are better than NorCal advocates. Change my mind. Can't.
Are there any Cal, or are you saying Sacramento is Northern Cal?
Oh, Sacramento is Northern California.
Yeah.
Oh,
What, anything north of San Francisco, though?
We just seen it being thrown down. A lot of people aren't familiar with this, but if you'd seen Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo, am I allowed to say that one? Crap. If you've seen Breaking, the original, Angelina basically took a piece of cardboard and slapped it down and then took like a bandana, right? And like, I don't know what she did. She did some sort of tied it in a knot in such a way and then did some sort of a move as which to say to the Northern California people, like, so there. And now they're all like, what? They crossing their arms weird.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have like a dance off, and I mean, I'm gonna chop the state like north of Bakersfield.
Are you, or are they that whack? I don't see anybody from Northern California in here.
They're not here to represent, so we win. Default judgment. I win.
So California wins the streets, the 2A on the streets.
See, Beans in SoCal. He or she knows.
Oh, is it Battle Bean?
Bean pilled.
Oh.
No, I think that's the thing.
Oh my God, this thing.
Gun Owners of America is California. Like the Gun Owners of California turned into Gun Owners of America, and that was one guy. So that was 1975 or whatever. Like, why wouldn't we see something come out of the states that are getting the most whooped right now?
I want to highlight this comment here. We Southern Californians have grown up around liberals, so we know the early warning signs of tyranny. Yeah, true that.
Well, and you wait around in it. Yeah, it's like the rest of us are like, hey, there's tyranny, and y'all are like opening up your eyes and you're like Rambo, all with the mud or whatever. Like, yeah, we're in here. Like, we know.
Yep.
So anyway, I'm waiting for you. So yeah, we just got called out. Y'all just called out the Northerners. So we'll see. Let's see what Pig's saying. I figured it was everything right. A San Andreas was 2A. Everything west, not 2A. San Andreas. Oh, is that The Fault?
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
If you're saying everything from the San Andreas Fault to the shore is not 2A, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, that's the part that they say is gonna like fall off, and then we'll fall into the ocean and die.
Literally everybody I know in California is on that part of California, not the other. I don't think I know anybody. Oh, actually, I do know people's parents who live in the other part of I don't know. Everybody I know lives on the edge, the water side of California. So we don't want that to happen. Hopefully, what y'all will do, if you ever thought about this, I don't know, bury a lot of helium. So then if everything does ever happen like that, y'all just float. Be one of them floating islands.
Yeah.
Seems pretty obvious to me. If you had subways, well, I guess that's why what's his face is creating tunnels, so that then you can fill them tunnels with helium. Same purpose. Maybe even just water. Who knows?
Actually, falling into the ocean is not on the California roster, so we can't do it.
Oh, well, then you're covered. Nice. Well played.
Yeah, use that to my advantage sometimes.
All right, well, so I don't think even Walt is around here anymore. He came in here, got his free advice, and he booked. Makojo had posted earlier about the thing in Canada. So what does anybody think? If they were to pull some BS and everybody was like, yeah, you know what? Let's just go ahead and confiscate all them guns. Like, you know, they somehow pull some great marketing scheme. Oprah's like, you know what? Guns are bad, right? Everybody's like, yeah, right. Everybody agrees with Oprah. So then what are they going to do? Hire people to pick them all up? Is it like Microsoft's going to do it, or some sort of military? I never even had considered that they would hire somebody. I guess we just, every single chat I've ever been in, I think, is just to jump to either government somehow, which I don't believe, or UN, which I guess I assumed it would be somehow to, like, you know, bring in UN troops to do it. Has anybody ever heard of the concept of, like, whatever, RoboCop OCP troops coming in and doing it?
I think that's what's going to happen. It's going to be, what was that? The ED, you know, you have 2 seconds to comply. The dude, it's going to be that dude.
Oh, like robots? I don't know. I seen a thing where a Russian robot, kind of like that dog one, the 4-legged thing, and it, except a running one, and it like kind of runs down a street sorta and around a corner, and it's like, you know, some videos trying to keep up with it, maybe a drone. And basically imagine that robot dog, except with a bunch of rockets on the top of it. So it's basically a rocket launching platform that is the size of a big dog, and it runs around launching rockets. So yeah, that would suck if they just brought in a bunch of those, I guess. Aimed them at your front door.
Well, they'll just like turn them loose, and then
yeah,
you'll open your door one day and I'll be like, hey, give me, and then like it'll read off a list of like everything that they think you have.
So we think it'll be robots?
No, I'm just saying I don't think it will. I'm just saying that. How fast?
Well, when you bring that up, I think it's maybe because we were talking about Battlestar Galactica the other day. I didn't picture the one that you meant. I pictured Muffet, that robo dog that Boxy had.
I like that though. They don't look that different from that, right? I mean, they're a little different, but they could easily be skinned to look like him or her, whatever it is. I think it was a him because there was a girl one once.
Yeah, and the a little piece of trivia for that thing, it was a chimpanzee inside that suit. I didn't know that until a couple of years ago. I thought it was a real robot.
Everybody knows that blending up robots and monkeys is always going to be excellent. Angela, you even know what we're talking about? Do you know Battlestar Galactica? Is it called Daggett?
Yeah, the little.
He was a Daggett, but his name was Muppet. Yeah, Muppet's a Daggett.
Is that Star Wars?
No, that's Battlestar Galactica.
So Star Wars happens, and everybody's like, well, Star Wars happens. Everybody's like, oh, space westerns. That's awesome. And so they make a TV show called Battlestar Galactica. And then it's basically space corvettes driving around into a space aircraft carrier, and then space Dallas, because it was exactly the same as Dallas in all the boring parts. So then at one point, there's this kid, because we were watching it and they had to keep us watching, and the kid has a robot dog named Daggett, or whatever his name is, and he runs around being a robot dog all the damn time in between love scenes and shit and the rest of the show. It was pretty bad, except for Daggett. It was awesome. So basically it's a monkey inside of a robot dog suit running around. It was awesome.
It had like little radar ears, like the like the thing from Doctor Who, the little
Yeah,
robot dog.
He was supposed to be a robot dog, but he was more like a robot panda or like a robot, very monkey-like dog because he was a monkey, really.
Yeah,
and then
I didn't watch this. I was watching Unsolved Mysteries.
No. This was way before you were born, probably. But it was the best part of that show, probably, except for the space corvettes that they drove.
The Cylons.
Cylons are pretty bad.
Maybe the really good one that was gold every once in a while, but I never did figure out why they had bayonets.
Yeah,
they didn't do anything like the space monkey in the new ones. They didn't do anything. They didn't bring back a Daggett, did they? That was the worst part of the new ones, really.
I won't even touch the new stuff.
The new ones are not bad. You gotta be able to deal with it because it's not right. But once you can just say, like, all right, it's wrong, right? Then it's good. Like, once you can deal with it being wrong, it's good.
Did they ever make it to Earth?
I don't remember. It got way too long.
Like, that was the point, right? They were like going to Earth every time. They'd be like, hey,
We ran the girl out of here.
we scared her off. Oh, there she is.
Maybe I can't.
We'll quit being nerds.
Well, the premise was a
Wait,
good
what?
one.
Did I die?
I don't know. I might have clicked you out. I was muting and I might have clicked you out.
Oh.
I'm learning how my new what do you call it? I'm paying for the duck now. I can do
There's a rag pig.
Can you hear this if I do this?
Thinking about it, that shotgun of yours ain't gonna do no good. It's only good for close-up work. Why do you keep telling me things I know? What you want to get a hold of is something where you can shoot them as far away as the next territory. Anything else you want to tell me that I already know? Currently, I got me 2 rifles right underneath that seat you're in. You always keep 2 rifles under the seat? Yes, sir. My wife cleans the loads for me. Now, a lot of men get fried chicken. You got a good wife. Yeah, I know it.
I think you can unmute during it. I was trying to type that in.
So that was rad. Also, was that Johnny Cash?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a movie. I forgot what the name of it is now. Crap. I think it's a remake of a real movie. That's what it is. And Stagecoach is the name of it. And it is like when Kenny Rogers was around, Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, it's like every Western person from there in a movie. And it's one of the worst movies ever made.
They tried to put too much all in one movie.
I don't know what they were thinking. It was like it's one of those things where you read the comments on, I think I got it on YouTube. I think I was just watching it off of YouTube. And I don't remember if it was like an official YouTube one or if you just type in full movie. Are you allowed to say that? If you type in full movie on YouTube, it'll just start showing you stuff from other countries that are full movies, like really movies. Sometimes they're like they slow them down or something, but if you find one that's slowed down, keep looking because a lot of times they're just normal movies. I just play them. I don't know where they're coming from, but anyway, it might have been something like that or the official free movies. But either way, I saw it on YouTube and reading the comments was crazy because half the people were like, "This is my favorite movie. I've been looking for this forever, and I knew I seen it because it's got like every country western singer like walks in and says a line or something like it's kind of one of those kind of movies where I don't know if everybody got a $15 for doing it or they were all like lost a bet or something, but half the people are like, "I love this movie." The other half of them are like, "This is the worst freaking thing I've ever seen. It's not even whatever, bad. It's not even good for being bad or whatever."
What's it called again?
I think it's called Stagecoach. Stagecoach is a real movie that has been made like multiple times, I guess. And this was the TV version from like the 80s or something. The audio is really bad because I'm filming that on my one computer and I didn't even think. And I'm filming it with my phone. So it's like the most horrible recording of it.
Oh my God, I have such a boner right now because I looked it up. So Willie Nelson is in it.
Yep.
Chris Christopherson is in it. Johnny Cash.
Christopherson is the one holding the reins.
Fucking Jennings is in it. Also, June Carter's in it.
Yeah, June Carter. So one of the people
Oh,
is
and Mary Cosby.
Wayland. It's like a bunch of their wives are in it too. So
Natural casting.
every time I watch one of those things, I try to watch stuff from the 70s and like the cars and the clothes and stuff. But I'm amazed when I'm remembering like a movie, like even really, what's it called? Dirty Harry or something. Dirty Harry's a little better, but some of them are basically the same like editing and production value as if you're watching the Brady Bunch or something. So it's like I don't, like you'd go to the movie theater and you're watching the same thing as you see it on TV. And I didn't remember that because I wasn't paying attention, I guess, when I was a little kid. But you watch them on YouTube. There's no difference between watching a movie from back in the day and watching TV from back in the day.
Yeah, it all looks the same.
Same level of quality, same like titles. It's like they put them through the same editors and shit. They were doing the same thing. It's just that one time they shoved it up here and the other time they shoved it over there.
That was filmed in Tucson.
Yeah, the original stagecoach was John Wayne was in it. He played one of the guys who swings on board during the overland trip. It came out in like the late 30s. But the reason I even know that much about it is not because of John Wayne, but because it was a John Ford movie, and I'm a huge fan of his contribution to the canon of American film.
Okay, I was just looking up where that was filmed, and it says it was filmed in Tucson.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. There's Old Tucson, which is a movie set that's still here, kind of, and it's just on the other side of the hill, so you can go there in the afternoon and check it out. It's like a tourist attraction, but and then what they'll do is that like when it's off season, when there's not tourists down here, I guess in the summer when it's super hot, they'll shut it down basically. And then that's when they'll film movies there. So once the tourists are gone, they can get rid of all the modern stuff, and then it's just the old stuff. And then they film movies, I think. So you can tell when stuff is filmed there because it's only not really that big of a town. So they can only film it from so many angles or paint it so many different colors, or add things to it or whatever. So you can kind of tell if you start paying attention. But the thing is, it burned down like multiple times. So this version of it can only be in so many movies, and they have to be since like the 90s. So I think the last time it burned down was not that long ago. So the stuff that was in a movie from that old, because that's from like the 80s, that might have been Old Tucson before I even seen it. Like, it's some version, because it's just a rickety old town. And for the longest time, I think that's really what it was, just an old town, right? They just started filming in it. So it was all dry wood and old, and something started it on fire and it literally just burned down in like 2 seconds. And then they're like, shit. So they just rebuilt it exactly the same or pretty close. And, then it was a little different because it was fake. But then I think it burned down, like I say, maybe twice or 3 times since then. And I don't know if that's literally because it's old and dried out or if it's some kind of insurance scam like, oh, we're not making money again. Let's burn it down.
Like a refresh?
Yeah. But also there's a deal where, back in the olden days, Westerns were the shit. So everybody was like catering to Westerns, and it was easy probably to film a Western here because it's not that far from there. Because it's 8 hours to drive to Hollywood from here. But, and it's basically, desert, right? You still got Tucson right here. So you're not in the middle of nowhere, but you also are kind of in the middle of nowhere for filming. But there's I can think of 5 places around Tucson where they film movies that still exist. 3 of them still exist. They're literally still filming places, or what do you call them? Like sound stages or whatever that's called. And then the other places are just places that they would go. But then they changed, what's it called, like laws or funding or taxes or something. So it was way cheaper to film in other countries. And that's why all those spaghetti Westerns happened, right? It was way cheaper to film in Italy than it was to film wherever they were making all the other movies. And then these states started fighting with each other, and that's why you see a bunch of stuff being made in Canada and stuff. So I think it's all about Tucson, or Arizona at least, doesn't give Hollywood nothing anymore. And I only know all this, not because I care at all, other than I do pay attention to the old guys out here. And there was this old guy that had a radio show, and he would bitch about this stuff. And these guys really liked being in the old westerns. They enjoyed the shit out of being in them and being extras. And there was like a thriving industry out here. You know, all the lighting and all the sets, all that stuff was an industry. And these, you know, the people would come here from all over the world to film westerns here, and all that died. So, you know, it's not just gone, but being, you know, there's no traces of it anymore or whatever. So it's just one of those things that there's definitely people that track that and can tell. That's what that radio show was all about every week. And they would talk about movies and all the trivia about, you know, way more than IMDb could ever tell you about where they were filmed and what direction the cameras were and all this kind of stuff. A lot of the people on the show were extras and stuff. But anyway, they film a lot of stuff in Canada now because of taxes, I think. Or South Dakota. Nebraska takes all our money.
They filmed The Mandalorian out here. The Mandalorian's filmed like, I don't know, 4 miles from me.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Like towards the Hollywood sign or some other direction?
Towards like where Allen Anchor is from where I live.
Oh, shit.
Between where I live and where Allen Anchor is where Mandalorian is.
Is that like where a bunch of stuff is filmed, or they just happen to film it in a place and that's where it is?
Actually, back there is Corriganville. That's where they used to film a lot of westerns. They filmed Once Upon a Time in Hollywood back there recently because of the Manson thing. They actually just filmed this film called Soggy Bottom with Bradley Cooper. I saw the filming.
Was that the real ranch, or it just was looked enough like it? That's where they filmed it.
Oh no, it was a real ranch. I don't know how much is left of it, but that's where they filmed it. I mean, I've been there and it's kind of like shitty. I don't know what it was like, but it's
I get the impression every time I look up something, it's like this is where such and such was filmed. Because there's a lot of stuff in California, right around LA, where they just turns out they just went to somebody's house and filmed something.
Mm-hmm.
But like that place, I think, is one of them where whenever you go there, it looks like nothing because they just built it all for the movie, right? Like they just built the houses and everything, and whenever they left, they just pulled it all away and it left it like they found it.
The Corriganville thing, I think it's called Corriganville. They used to have like a little western town up there. I don't know if it burned in one of California's numerous fires or an earthquake got it or whatever got it. But they used to have a whole thing there because it like it was like an attraction. Now there's something there. I don't remember. I haven't been there a long time, but it's not what it used to be. And then tons of stuff's filmed here. It's like the RoboCop. No, not RoboCop. What's the other one? With my ex-governor in it. That was filmed here.
Oh, you mean Terminator?
Yeah, Terminator.
Well, that makes sense. I think that one's set there, right?
Yeah. In LA, I thought.
Yeah.
Because they do that, I don't remember which one it is, one, 2, or 3, but they have that chase scene when they're on the Harley and they're going through that really popular drainage, whatever, overflow.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I found that one time or something like it, I guess. I don't know. Is there more than one of those?
Well, there's a lot of it, yeah.
Okay, because I was by that. I was looking for the museum one time, or I was driving up to the observatory, the place where Terminator, the robot, comes down in the first one and steals clothes from people.
Mm-hmm.
That's at the top of this observatory. It's the top of a neighborhood, basically. And then that's where you look at that Hollywood sign. And at the bottom of that hill is the zoo and the museum. And I'm driving around over there. And I don't know if I was I think I'd left your place and I was going to somewhere. Anyway, I was going somewhere and I was like, F this. Like, I don't know the traffic good, but the traffic was obviously in gridlock. So I just took the first exit I could and I was there. So I was like, oh, I know kind of where I am. I'm going to try to get to the museum or something. I can't remember where I was going, but anyway, I was driving around the bottom of that hill, and there's like you could just drive in there to like that, whatever you call the big dry wash. We call them a dry wash here. You call them a river, I guess. But that big, just giant concrete river thing that's
Yeah.
empty.
The
Like
Los
you can
Angeles
just
River.
drive right in there. I'm like, I almost drove in there just because I figure, what the hell could they do to me? They're not gonna. I mean, I could have drove in there, got a video of me having the van in there, and then got the hell out of there before anybody would have known shit. So are those things just open, or was that just a chance thing that there was nothing like a gate or nothing? It just looked like the street went straight in there, no tire spikes or nothing. You could just drive right in there.
I mean, you're probably not supposed to go in there, but in all honesty, this is LA. You can go in there. Nobody's going to call the cops. The cops aren't even going to come because nobody's dying or bleeding, so we don't care.
Unless you called them, like, help me, I did something down here. Now you have to come down here.
Yeah.
Like, otherwise you wouldn't go down there just to be like, hey, get out of here, right?
Yeah, and
That's
everyone
cool. Down there, like an
you,
idiot.
then you would hold up traffic in some way when you called 911, so everyone would hate you and be like, fuck this guy, don't rescue him.
So when you're talking about the observatory, G, you're talking about the one in LA, Griffith Observatory?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where
cool.
okay, so that's just this little hill, right? And then Hollywood's sign is right behind it on a bigger hill, kind of a half a mountain. And then you go up that hill and you're just driving through a bunch of people's neighborhoods. Like they're just living there, minding their business, living on the side of this hill. And you have to drive through their neighborhood for like an hour. And then you get to the top and there's like a baseball field, and then that observatory is at the top of that hill. And yeah, that's what we're talking about. Like that's where Terminator comes down. So Terminator basically came down at this observatory and then had to like, I guess, walk through like a whole bunch of people's yards to get to like anywhere where you could actually get to a car or something. Like they don't show that part of the movie, but that's literally like just a bunch of people's backyards.
Yeah, I went there because of the connection to Jim Morrison and the Doors. There was a photo shoot they did there. I went to all the addresses I could dig out of his Danny Sugarman biography.
Oh, you've been there? So yeah, at the bottom of that hill is a river thingy, or at least a river thingy like that. Mm-hmm. And I was doing something. I don't remember what it was. I was trying to get around traffic, and that's where I was mainly paying attention to how I can get wherever I was trying to go. And that's where I seen like, oh crap, if I take a left right here, I'm pretty sure I can just drive right into that. And I don't know. I just assumed they were way over by where Hosh lives or something. Like I figured they were over by the water, not way the hell over by the Hollywood sign. But it's probably like here. That's where when it rains, there's water in them, and never any other time.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, well, it's kind of like, because it kind of runs near the freeway. But yeah, it pulls all the water off. But it still floods out here whenever it rains anyway. So.
Oh, I don't think I've ever been to LA when it rained yet. So that'd be interesting.
Well, come on.
Actually, I did maybe when it was really dark one time, but I didn't get to see what, if it flooded or what. Yeah, I can't even imagine, because out here it gets crazy, and we don't have anywhere near the amount of blacktop and concrete that LA has, obviously.
Whenever we get like a bad rain, there's always like all these spots that flood out, and like everybody who lives in the area knows where they are because you see it like, once every other year or whatever, and it like gets super deep. So what always blows my mind is people always try to drive through it, like when the street floods out, even though there's cones and whatever, and then they get stuck, and then everybody hates them. But it's like, dude, every year on the news, you see this happen, and you see everybody like laughing at the person that got stuck. Why did you try this?
Definitely. Well, it used to happen out here a lot. Maybe they just don't cover it so much. Or more than likely, it's because I don't watch TV anymore. Back in the day, that's the kind of stuff TV would cover when somebody gets stuck like that.
Yeah, all the good stuff. That's what's been going on because of the rain now. And the hail, like the hail's big news. So everyone's like, that's on all the news. The rain's on all the news.
It wasn't until I was there that I realized that that was also a location in Rebel Without a Cause. So it had like extra meaning for me as a film fan, at least.
The observatory?
Yeah, well, yeah, the observatory's in it. Griffith Park is in it. Yeah, but I didn't know until the mid '80s when I was there.
What
Never
are
made a
you rebelling against, man?
connection. What do you got? You're tearing me apart.
All right, well, so we're about an hour or something in. Description of the video has some of the stuff that was homework for tonight's episode. So we had the Locked and Loaded Latinos on Sunday show, and that was episode 25. We got High Caliber History. Did the couple of episodes. One I got linked here is the one with his conversation with the dude from Rock Island Auctions. They talked for a bit. Then we got the Daily Bullet listed here, the Liberal Gun Club, and talking with Lara Smith. Got the Plate Society podcast that went on for, I don't remember, is anybody else in there today? It was like more than an hour. I was kind of walking around doing some stuff. Talking about Florida and then just kind of general chat, I think. Talking about the art of war earlier. Go around and see. Has anybody read the art of war before? DJ?
Yes.
Woods?
Yeah, I'm reading it now.
Angelina?
Well, you're reading it or rereading it?
Rereading.
Yep. I knew it.
Angelina?
I read like a quarter of it.
Really? And then barbecue?
I was elected to lead, not to read.
You haven't read it before?
No, I've only read like 3 books in my entire life. I am not a reader.
Oh, right on. So there's that, and then the Canadian thing we already talked about, and then the Waltz thing. I think basically trying to point focus, I guess, on the way that people are covering the pistol brace thing, and other alternatives, or pondering the alternatives. And then Cobalt Flame, who's jumped in here a few times, had posted, I think he posted a video pondering something about, does there need to be somebody who breaks the law to create a test case to take the 2A to court? And it wasn't a long one, so I'm not sure. I'm sure they'll talk about it in other conversations, like in the future or whatever, but certainly a lot of stuff there that we could chat about in this one. Save them some effort by solving this stuff real quick, or if that spins off any other topics, feel free. But figured since we're an hour in, go through and hit all that again. There's Walt out there. And that's the problem. When you have a good conversation, people tend to just sit there and absorb or ponder. And, I don't want to make it like a necessity that everybody's got to constantly chatter, because that could be distracting, I suppose. But at the same time, remember that we are on an internet using really fancy communication tools. So use the keyboard, jump in. I'll drop the link again, and I'll shut up so that if anybody in here wants to bring up any of those points or spin off on any of those points, feel free.
I have to go find my notes for Art of War.
We'll talk about Art of War. So if you haven't read that, what's that?
Is there an audiobook for Art of War that I can?
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. That's one of the things I was mentioning before. Art of War is a book that's like 200 years old.
2,500.
Oh,
Yeah.
2,500? Okay. So it's kind of old. And it's basically just a bunch of like the accumulation of like a really old guy's strategic thinking, or I guess there's other ways to describe that. And then they're kind of like when you hear Confucius say kind of crap, or like, just, are those called ponderings, or like, I don't know what the word is for the kind of common saying that makes sense. And it's just sometimes you hear them in kind of a rhymey way so that you remember them, or some sort of a bullshit limerick crap. It's nothing corny like that. It's just more sage wisdom, maybe. I don't know. It's unique in that it's coming from the olden days and it's coming from Asia, so it's got that flavor, I guess, but the wisdom in it is freaking awesome. So anyway, if you listen to it, like I say, it's somewhere between an hour and 2 hours, depending on how fast they talk, basically, because it's not super long. And what is it, 10 minutes or something? It's basically not a super long book to just dig in and read either. And it's not something that's like a narrative. You don't have to like read the beginning and the end. There's sort of pieces to it. It's kind of like the Bible in that way. It's just a bunch of little pieces, little stories that are on the same direction, but they're not all like a narrative. I don't know if I'm describing it well. So, but the I don't know what you call them. Do you call them teachings? The proverbs, whatever the word is for that, like the little clever things in it, are just so clever or so fundamental that they apply to a lot of stuff. So if you're dealing with a family thing, if you're dealing with like a test that you're trying to take, you're dealing with a sports conflict or challenge, you're dealing with anything you can almost apply it to and get something out of it. And it's just an interesting thing. And then to think of it like how many years, you're saying it's 2,500 years old. So how many people over the years have done something similar, like gotten something out of those, whatever you want to call them, ponderings, teachings? You guys describe it. How would you describe the art of war?
No, that's good there. At the teachings. I mean, the teachings of Lao Tzu. It's Sun Tzu is the one who wrote Art of War. Lao Tzu is often referred to, but you're talking about when it comes to Confucianism, that's the thing where it's more like it's Confucius says, so like every bad fortune cookie fortune out of San Francisco, Golden Dragon Factory specializes in that shit.
It's possible those guys knew each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not sure. I went looking into it. I deep dived a little bit using their kids' term, and I knew that it was 2,500 years old. But that's so long ago that China wasn't really China then. Like the people from the northern China and people from southern China were very different people.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying that Sun Tzu and Confucius might have known each other?
They might have known each other. There's another writer that writes about it, but that was written a couple hundred years later. We have a copy of The Art of War that's from the 3rd century BC, so it's about 200 years after he lived, and it's about 75% of what we have today, and then it got added onto later. So the one we knew now is probably 25%. Like we just made it up since then.
And that's what I was going to say. It's unlike the Bible in that way too, right? So you'll get different. There's probably people that get way more into it than me, but like different opinions of it or what people get out of it, karate versus taekwondo kind of thing. So you're going to get some people who probably emphasize or focus on pieces of it, and whenever their translation comes out, it's a little bit more heavy weighted towards some parts of it or something, maybe.
It's very similar to the Bible in that whoever wrote it was the disciple of the disciple of the disciple. It wasn't the original guy didn't write it down.
Right. At some point, it was just word of mouth, and then it got written, and then it's kind of been the same ever since. I can't tell you because it's too big. I can't tell you every time I've heard it because I almost always listen to it. I never really read it anymore. I can't tell you if they're exactly the same, but they're freaking pretty close to the same if they're not the exact same words anymore. But the readings are totally different. Walt tried to link to one. It won't let me. I don't know. It doesn't like the link. It won't even let me click the link. Okay. But you can just type in Art of War audiobook in YouTube, and it's what do they call that when it doesn't cost anything? It's like open source at this point. There's no copyright on it. So it's just something that people do, I think, is like when they're becoming a book reader. It's just one of those books you read because it only takes an hour. So anyway, there's a ton of them, and some of them are fancy, and they got like sound effects and music going, so it's like calming, and it's like listening to meditation or something. And then others are just a person reading it. some of them they add emphasis, and it's almost like an acting type of, like listening to a play or something. And other ones, it's more like being in school or something. So that's one of the reasons I like it. I'll just find a different reading of it each time. And like I was saying, sometimes that'll either influence or emphasize different pieces of it or whatever, just the way the person's reading it or something about, you focus on a piece of it differently.
I had walked away and I heard someone say something about limericks, and I was excited because I thought we were going to like tell limericks, and then I came back to not that.
Limericks like attack from the soggy ground is fraught with effort when fighting from high ground is more.
No, limerick like there was an old man from Nantucket.
I'm saying that would be the kind of limericks in the Art of War, though. They wouldn't be all that rhymey or anything like that.
I had a good one, and I was like, oh, I know which one I'm going to share. Like, I had it ready, and then it was like all about military skill, and I was like, oh, fuck, that's not that.
There's a good part in there where he goes, the king's general guy was like, oh, you want me to march around your troops? And the king's like, yeah, sure. And then he's like, all right, so I'm going to march around all the chicks. And he's like, all right.
Yep.
And then he's like, go to the left. And they're all like, please. And then he's like, go to the right. And they're like, talk to the hand. So he's like, kill him.
He killed two of them.
Yeah, he kills the like two-head prostitutes, or? Well,
they were the king's harem.
No, there is something. I don't think they're necessarily prostitutes. I think they were just like the head chicks in charge of the
concubine.
So anyway, there's some intrigue, and then death. There's a lot of death in it, actually.
Concubines.
Yeah, right. And I don't think that means prostitutes. That means like boss of the castle, right?
Yeah, it's kept woman.
Mm.
And then, sure enough, they marched really perfect. And his point was that the general is the general, and you have to all follow us blindly. And I think that's pretty terrible usually, but I can understand it sometimes. But like as far as 2A goes, we don't need a general like that.
Oh, really? See, that's how you see it? I see it as more like you're responsible for both what you're supposed to be doing and what you are doing, and by inaction you can cause bad things for others. You can be part. I don't know. Like I said, there's different ways you can look at that. You can be part of something by group inaction and shit. Anyway, so that was one thing. We can talk about other things.
I want to hear Angelina's limerick now. I was going to talk more about the Art of War, but now I don't care.
Well, I want to make one quick literary note. The only thing I've found in the Western canon that comes close to the explicit instructions found in things like Art of War is Machiavelli's The Prince. That absolutely sets up the scheming Western European approach to dominance through flattery and fealty and manipulation. It's an even faster read, and it's a textbook lecture on how to gain power and fuck the small guy.
Yeah, more through con.
Yeah.
Through trickery.
I've heard of that one. I don't think I've read it. You said it's quick to read?
Yeah,
it's a hard read.
Hard, but it goes quickly.
If you're down that road, I'm a big fan of Aurelius Meditations. It's the book that George Washington carried around.
Which one?
Marcus Aurelius Meditations. He wrote it about the 5th century AD, and he was fighting.
I understand what that is, and I've heard of a lot of people who I respect, I think, that would recommend it, but I've never been able to dig into it. It's too much like reading like a book of Confucius or something. I don't
Snag the Cliff's Notes. The Cliff's Notes are just as good, and you don't have to deal with the semi-archaic language.
Well, I guess it's more of it's just a bunch of like sayings, right? It's not like a narrative at all. It's like trying to read the Tao Te Ching Do. like you can read it, I guess, but it's sort of like trying to read a, I don't know, you know what I mean? Saying, have you ever tried reading that Bruce Lee's book? It's like somebody just printed out all his notes. So it's just a bunch of sayings and half thoughts, and you know, some things are expanded on by 2 paragraphs, and then it's a drawing. It's like literally his notes. So you can thumb through it and you can be inspired by it and you can understand it, I guess. But there's no way to like say you can read it. I mean, it's not like you're reading the narrative. So that's how I got. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that I spent a lot of time with it, but whenever I was like, oh, I'm going to check this out, it seemed like that. So I was just like, this seems like something. If I was riding a bus around, it'd be perfect because I could just pick it up and grab a few pieces out of it, and then come back to it the next time I'm on the bus or something.
Well, with Marcus Aurelius, he's a Stoic, and basically the Stoics' message is the universe picked you for this task. You can either bitch and whine about it or you don't, but do it anyway. And not only do it, enjoy it. Whatever your problem is, your path, whatever that difficult thing is, it's difficult and it makes you a better person.
Being satisfied with the present, not
being satisfied with what you were given by the universe gave it to you.
Not being focused on the future or worried about the past, but happy with the present.
But he also
like now
the Lions and stuff, so he's not like maybe the best guy ever.
So Walt saying, I think we get too. I got hiccups now. I think we get too caught up on how to organize or what to call it. Just getting organized and moving to win is what matters. What do you think he's talking about? Something that we're talking about now, or is a comment from way before?
Yeah, like we could get into Art of War and all that, but how does that practically help us? We can get, the 5 of us to agree, but does that really do anything? I think he's saying more how to organize what our game plan is. Is that what I might be putting words in his mouth?
Probably, if you look at it that way.
I definitely like Walt's idea of reaching to the ones he's been doing lately are reaching to the other side, getting over they're liberals or whatever. And if we're going to win this, we can actually get them over on our side with good logical thought.
Well, the thing is, the people that are singing the same old tune are not going to stop singing. So the same old tune's still going to get sung, and it'll evolve maybe, or it'll go back with whatever. Who cares? Because what Walt's doing is, like you're saying, reaching to different people, and they're just going to join. So it's going to be both. It isn't going to be like one or the other. I just think this is the beginning of this song, and it's probably the end of the other song. So we're just going to see one of them start to gain in volume, and the other one's going to lower in volume.
Polyp is busted on to the scene. Snipe him.
Thank you. Nice and pro 2A activists.
Hey, what happened to my wrench? I used to have a wrench.
What on here? Are you even on here? You haven't said nothing over there.
Speaking of wrenches, did you see that we got wrenches on the big channel, Angelina?
She's had a wrench forever.
I think I got my wrench taken away by YouTube for being bad.
Oh, maybe that's it. I used to have one.
I aspire to be worthy.
Go ahead.
I just said I aspire to be worthy.
I've just always like you have no tolerance policy for all that shit.
So anyway, I think he's talking about what he was talking about before.
Organizing pro 2A activists.
So I think we get too up on how to organize 2A activists, or what to call it. Getting organized is what matters. Well, sure. I don't know. I guess you guys can spin it off how you want. I guess my thing is, there's no way to go. Otherwise we would have already done that, right? But here's the way to do it. So let's do it more or again, right? And then there's no, that didn't work. So let's not do it again or more, but instead let's do this over here. And obviously, when you got that big circle, we've done it before. Let's do it again louder. That big circle that's there, that only covers so much room. So when you're going to draw something outside the circle, you can draw something over here. You can draw something over there. You can draw something in a third place, and they never touch. And they're all not doing the same thing again. So you've got the negatives of let's do the same thing always, because that's not good, right? I've never been a fan of doing the same thing over and over or whatever. But then if you just say, let's do something different, just to do something different, then that's not necessarily good. You know what I'm saying? That's just something different. And if it's rebuild in the mousetrap, even if it is, you want me to share that? Even if it is something valid, I'm just frustrated when we do it over and over. I'd like to see us progress, but is that the same? Yeah, it is. It just looks different, I guess, because it's the Mac.
Master Race Mac.
I really, really, really want to get a tablet. It'll be one of my things for next year, I think. My friend, I think I told you, my one friend's got a tablet with the drawing pen or whatever. And every time I go over by his place, he's lording it over me. Look at my fancy tablet. He doesn't do nothing with it. He just draws stuff and doesn't share them or do nothing with them. Shake my fist at him and yell, and he doesn't give it to me or nothing. I'm also trying to steal a puppy off of him, so I want to steal so many things off of somebody when they're not looking.
Is it the iPad, like an iPad tablet?
Yeah.
With the pen?
Yeah, he doesn't know how to work a computer, so he has an iPad and an iPhone and a pen. Yeah, so it definitely does accomplish what what the goal is. So it lets people just use them without having to worry about it. Because obviously anybody can, work the stuff. It's just a matter of you didn't want to have to learn how to work Windows and all that kind of blah, blah, blah. Tablet for working on Adobe Cloud. See, I haven't, whatever. But are you playing or you got something in mind?
I'm trying to spend some money on advertising and make more Alan Anchor designs. So I've just been doing did you see the stupid Sesame Street sign I did?
No, I thought that was pretty good.
I like the colors.
I did. It's amazing.
It's pretty big.
It's pretty amazing.
But that's one of my new ones. I did I don't know. It looks like it reminds me of like a beer logo, I guess. That it's green and yellow too. And then I did this other one. I changed the logo on Instagram. And anyway, I think I'm going to run that as a patch too.
That baseball looking-ish font, is that going to be your new one?
Yeah, well, I'm just using it for right now. But it's pretty cool, I guess.
I just want to say that one bad apple spoils the whole barrel, and all apples are bad.
Oh, wait, I know what the hell you're talking about. You don't like Apple computers?
Do I have like a wrench on here? Can I kick him out of here or what?
No, what do you got against Apple computers?
Since I built my first 2E clone, I just don't dig Apple, and because they make I'm either a Linux guy. Well, yeah, I just have strong opinions about the computers that I use and the reasons why, and I've just kind of always dumped on Apple and Mac.
Oh, those are fighting words. Good luck.
Sorry, man.
Oh, I'm not. I get whatever one the school gives me, but
Yeah.
Angelina, you gonna take this?
I don't know. I mean, is it worth it?
PC till I die.
She's kind of a baller. She's doing this on a Mac, so
I understand from having to work and play well with others in the graphics department at one of my former jobs that that's the answer for you graphic creative types. But my creativity doesn't extend that far, and I only need a decent word processor. So otherwise, I'm stuck with stick figures.
Max can be for everybody.
No, you're right. I shouldn't hate the player. I should hate the game, but
I still need to hear your limerick.
Oh my God, yeah. We should do like a limerick off. My family's like English, right? Some of them are from England. So I always try to get like some dirty limericks going, but no one would do it with me this year. And I had a fucking great one. That wasn't the one I was going to use tonight, though. I'm saving that one. But yeah. We should do a limerick off one day.
Well, let's do it off air.
All right.
Well, 2A limericks, though. I mean, you're talking
2A limericks? Oh, it have to be 2A limericks. That's good.
No, you're talking about body limericks, unlikely, right? So if you're not talking about that, you're talking about 2A limericks. I don't know. There's memes, right? Like, why shouldn't there be 2A limericks? How better? That's what they're all about, right? Using rhyme or whatever to get info across.
That's a great idea.
Heads.
Okay, everybody's got more homework.
Yep.
ATF.
2A limericks.
ATF. It just seems like there's so many things there.
Yeah, we can make fun of the ATF all day long, right?
There was an agency called Batby, and they really had bats in their belfries. They tried to take braces. We laughed in their faces, and
see,
nice.
Happens.
All right, come on, man. Poetry stop for half shit.
That was pretty legit, actually. You like pulled that out. Did you already have that like waiting?
Oh hell no! We just came up with the subject. I could do that shit all day long.
That's what I'm saying, though. And then that basically becomes lyric, right? And then you turn that into some little catchy thing, and then it gets around. That's all it takes. So just takes intent in focusing on it.
There we go. That's what DJ's channel can revolve around, just doing 2A limericks.
That's a pretty good idea.
You could do the what the new YouTube shorts saying.
Yeah. Okay, don't give me too many ideas here. I'll run wild.
New channel.
2A limericks.
We're standing, run wild. Yes, do it. Go.
These little kids on TikTok are doing like 2A limericks and stuff. They don't even know what they're saying, but they're like anti-NFA. They don't even know. They're like, I don't know what the NFA is, but I want to get rid of it.
New challenge on TikTok NFA.
Come on, DJ, get woke.
I'm working on it.
Angelina spent a long time. Have you told these guys why it's called Ellen Anchor?
I think they've all heard it. Everyone's heard it.
I have not. I asked that earlier, but I was like, oh.
I always thought it was a naval reference and a tattooing thing.
Oh, that's interesting. I could use that one.
It's your typical story where she was sitting there at one of those rooftop situations that they have in LA, and there was an owl flying by with a giant anchor in its talons.
Yep. And I grabbed it and I was like, you know what? This reminds me of stickers. Hey, I got an idea. And here we are.
And do you like birds?
No, I fucking hate birds. Also, I don't really like stickers, so that's what makes it even better.
You call them slaps?
I don't put I would not put a sticker on my car. That is not for me. I cringe at the thought.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. That's how they get you.
But I mean, by all means, everyone should buy stickers.
All right, well, so we're at about the 2-hour mark. And I feel like we've solved a lot of problems today. The whole thing about the MiG jet earlier, the liberals and the gun clubs, that's all audio books went into that. Deep delved, I believe that's what the kids are calling it. Deep delved. Right there.
We deep dove.
What's that?
We deep dove.
Deep delved, I believe is the way that the lingo is on streets. Let's see. Kojo is saying, good night. It's late back east. Safe. And thanks for your work. Thank you. And yeah, it's getting to be later. We like to hit it right around the 2-hour mark for 2A. Makes it 2 times better than the daytime chats. Let's see what else we got in there. The Canadian stuff and their lack of ability to basically enforce or deal with infringements they've been putting on, or they have put on the country. And I guess they've got a couple years to still attempt to try to get the private company to go door to door. And then you got Waltz been posting some videos over there, like you say, on his series, and then probably from a Discord chat, I'm guessing, or else Cobalt posted a video. Cobalt jumps in here once in a while. He has jumped in here before, so we'll see if he jumps in, and maybe they'll extrapolate that.
Hopefully, he's safely ensconced in his sister's place up there in Montana. That's where he was setting off for.
He's got a YouTube page.
What's that?
He's got a YouTube page. I watched that video that Walt was. I've only watched the one Walt was responding to on YouTube. He's got a YouTube channel, Cobalt Blue, I think.
Cobalt Flame.
That's it.
I forgot that he said he was going to be traveling. So yeah, now that we solved braces and single-handedly through our efforts stopped the ATF's aggression, now they're calmer. They've promised to leave us alone with guns, probably dissolve their own organization because of our actions. We can smugly end this show in our self-satisfaction and knowing that we did it ourselves.
Cool. We don't have to do anything else. Excellent.
Yeah, we're done. Yeah, that's the best part. We're done. We don't have to do it again. And that's the other part. We don't have to ever worry about it again in the future. So yeah, we'll go off air and we'll have a even better private conversation where we pat ourselves on the back even harder. You can only pat yourself on the back so hard in front of people before it looks like you're gloating.